points from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in November 18, 2021, and I took my biggest day trading loss today, and it wasn't UWMC. That's what's surprising. So even though we got clapped on those shares, we took a loss on Baba. They're going to report tomorrow, but why I want to highlight this, it is all about our earnings strategy. You finally saw one of these turn, but that means we're going to have a play for tomorrow as well. So we got a lot to talk about. I want to go over all of the plays that we made today, but today was still a pretty wild day. The economic data and the earnings, they were not so hot today, and really what you got to see today was Wall Street punishing any company that is not raising prices. So you had Target and Lowe's today. They're a little bit different or similar to HD and Walmart, but just like Walmart, Target reported good earnings. They made profit, but their margin went down. They said they don't want to raise their prices, and well, Wall Street does not like that. So we had a very interesting day. A lot of names were down. It was really only tech stocks. We didn't move more than 1%, but it was still an important one. And how we close the rest of the week, there's going to be a lot of action. So we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go over all of the things that happened, what we're looking at for tomorrow, the plays that we made, and then the plays for the rest of the week. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/TheStockMarket. You can post the play, see the plays, watch this come to life. And yes, if having an electric George Foreman grill pop out of your car sounds like a good idea, even though you never use it or maybe you only use it once, then yeah, we're the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So, right off that bat, like I said, today was a very weird day. The bonds and everything were kind of chill. We're going to go over that. But the economic data, it was just overall bad. So, beyond just the earnings that you got in the morning, which kind of scared people a little bit, if anything, it just kept the market very tempered here. You didn't get any of the new all-time highs like yesterday, but there was also housing data, real estate, construction starts, all of that, but it did point to more supply chain issues with some of those numbers stagnating and highlighting that we still have to worry about that. So the tech stocks are the ones that held everything up. I believe about 75% of the companies on the market today all went down. It was only a small few that were up. Apple was up even like 2%, but it seemed like the main theme today was just punish anything that looks like inflation, and that spread to a lot of things. So not only was the earnings, but everything going on with the currency, all of that, even getting ready for the Fed. It's like people were really looking into that. So even though we just had the taper announcement, we've hit all-time highs, you're seeing the market get a little bumpy here, and it is related to inflation. So coming into your first pretty picture, these are some of the main focuses we've been looking at, but it's all about inflation, the bonds, the dollar, and now energy is a big focus we've been looking at. And here today, even though the markets have been kind of doing their own thing, a lot of other markets have been tripping out. A lot of currency markets all across the globe. The last month or so, it has been very volatile. You've been getting a lot of curve flattening on the bonds as well as even the currencies. But now this chart here, what this is showing you today is the number of metals on the LME that are in backwardation. And what this means is that the spot price of a metal or a commodity is trading higher than the future price. So that naturally just doesn't make sense, because you would assume a higher price for the future beyond what it's going for today because there's more uncertainty. But you have seen this a couple of times with oil and even bonds at other times. But this right here is really spooking some people because it's the first time you saw that since 2007. So there's a lot of things from 2007 looking like today, like energy and oil, but this is going to be something to keep your eye on, because now as we come into tomorrow, those China earnings, that's going to be an important thing to watch. But everything we've been talking about, if the market momentum slows down or even if we kind of stay pinned up here, just pay attention to what is moving the markets. Inflation is still important. You have the earnings from all the companies. Remember how important China was, what's going on with commodities, even gold, crypto, the dollar, and now Now, another thing to keep in mind, and you really saw this today, and I think you're going to see this coming into the next few days and even next week, but now the Fed as well, not only the policy and what the market is pricing in, but whether or not Powell is going to get replaced. So keep your eye out for all of these. Again, we're going to have a lot of plays here on these tomorrow, but watch out for those China earnings. That could either throw some cold water or give us some gasoline on any rally. So I'm going to be watching them. And we talked about it today, even though Baidu already reported and we got a little bit of that hint, BABA will be key, but there is still a ton of other China companies that will still be reporting, and they will also have an impact as well. So watch out for all of that. But coming into the company news and events now, this one was very important. This is why I'm putting it as the first one, because you saw Visa get clapped by it, but this was very important in the morning. But Amazon announced that they are going to stop accepting payments from Visa credit cards that were issued in the United Kingdom, and I think they're even considering all around, and this is due to the fees that Visa is charging. They don't charge the consumer, but it is charging Amazon, and this is kind of turning into a little baby mama drama spat, and they even said that they're considering shifting their co-branded card that is now with Visa to Mastercard. So this had a very big reverberating effect across a lot of names. This is even tied to the PayPal Venmo news, if you guys remember that with the Amazon partnership. There's a lot going on this, so this was a very big development. It did affect a lot of these stocks, and we saw that action, and I don't think you're only going to hear about it today, so keep your eye out for that. That was very important. Now coming into the earnings after hours, Nvidia, baby, they beat on every single metric, and their guidance was good. They stock dropped around 4% leading into the earnings, and that's what we were expecting, but then after hours, it was able to come up. It is now green. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to make a play, and then Cisco after hours, they missed. They gave a lackluster forecast. They dropped about 9-10%, so that one was bad. And then Sonos, they actually ended up doing good. They beat and even guided upwards, but they also warned of some supply chain impacts along the way, so not too bad. Again, earnings season is kind of winding down. We're still going to get a couple, so keep your eye out for them. And again, still a lot of companies in the morning and those bigger ones like we saw today. But coming into China and the US, this one's interesting, and it's related to oil, and there's actually a lot of cool things going on with oil. This is why I'm saying pay attention. But today we learned that Biden asked Xi Jinping for them, the Chinese people, to release oil from their reserves to help combat the higher energy crisis. So you've been hearing about Biden wanting to release our reserves, and they're talking about that back and forth. Well, he asked China that they should do the same to kind of ease some of this pressure, get some global cooperation. So I thought that one was interesting, but now this one gets better. This is probably the craziest piece of news. I mean, as it's crazy as much as it is fascinating, but there was a report today that some U.S. lawmakers are eyeing a 1890s law, a law from 1890s to clap OPEC. The law is literally called NOPEC. It's called No Oil Producing and Exporting Cartels Act. And this is what they used in 1890 to break up Standard Oil. So this is a very old law, and what this does was pretty much, it would say that all of these cartels are fixing prices, and it would allow people and governments to sue them for reparations. So it is wild. They even consider it a nuclear option, and it really just has a lot of uncertain impacts. And at this point, it is only verbal agreement. So they've talked about this in Congress. They've talked about it verbally. They said there's nothing on the floor yet, but we will see. But this is showing you the direction of where this is going. Again, we've been watching all these oil headlines and all of that, and this is why I'm saying moving forward over the next few weeks, this is going to be key to watch, because we have still not really seen the peak as we get here to winter and then what's going to happen to oil. But there was that. Then after hours, we saw a couple of these actions today, but KHC, Kraft Heinz, one of their top shareholders, he is offering a $1.1 billion offering of shares, selling in a block trade. But then you also saw the same thing with UWMC. They also had another top shareholder this morning. They did an offering to sell his shares, and it looks like the company ended up deciding to buy it back. So in KHC's case, they're looking to just sell it, I believe, through Citi or Bank of America, and they're offering it up at a slight premium, but the stock dropped after hours. We've seen a couple of those. I thought that one was very interesting, so watch out for that. Then coming into the supply chain here, California has raised the truck weight limit to ease the port congestion. So they're now raised the limit that trucks could carry to 88,000 pounds from 80,000, a 10% increase, but they said this should actually ease a lot of things. So we'll see what happens. And then there's been a lot of back and forth on this. And this one, I don't think it's going to affect Wall Street because I think so far more people are inoculated than not. So that's had a positive effect. But for now, this one, it may be good news in a weird way. But Florida legislators, they have agreed to fine any employer for mandating the vaccine. So kind of contrary to a vaccine mandate, they're actually fining the ones who impose it. So given where we're at now, it'll have some interesting effects, but we will see what happens. And then finally, the shaman guy, the guy that you saw in all the pictures for the Capitol riot, he was like dressed up with the little hat thing and all that. He got sentenced to just under 4 years in prison for everything that went down that day. So a lot of random news here. It looks like a lot is pointing to what we're going to get next week with energy in the Fed, but overall, we still got our earnings and watching what the end of the year brings. So I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 3 stocks that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow, and I actually like all of these plays, and we got to look at a lot of interesting things. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I took my biggest day trading loss. So ever since we've been doing all of these day trades, a lot of it has ended up good. You've seen me take some minor losses, but the big thing I want to highlight is the earning strategy. So if the company has been reporting, you've watched me make these plays where I will play it either a couple days before, even the day of, and then I have sold out every single time so far. So I wanted to keep my discipline. Unfortunately, I was down. It was a big position, but my plan was to get the flip. It wasn't there, so I had to close out of those babas. We bought them a couple days ago at like $290, but I had to sell all of them out at $205, lost $900. I did decide to keep the weeklies, but there is going to be an opportunity tomorrow. I'm going to play the post earnings. So you saw me do that with Roblox. We did take a loss, but we were actually still able to make a lot of money the day after. So I am not tripping on it, but now I'm bringing this up with Nvidia. This is our first play, but I did do this strategy today. If you remember what I was telling you with the pre-earnings run up, I had a prediction. We were right, and the play ended up hitting, but I chickened out. So you can see that I made it here in the morning, and then I sold off after 2 hours. The market just really wasn't doing it, and I had a lot of expectations for what I wanted it to look like. I took a small $60 loss, so we booked 2 losses today, but you're seeing we're sticking to our strategies. Again, I didn't want to play the earnings, but I just wanted to play the pre-earnings, but now that's why this is important. I think you're going to get an easy earnings continuation tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with Baba. But at the very least, Nvidia has done good. The only thing that's standing in Nvidia's way, it has already moved a lot. So be careful. You saw what happened with Affirm. They had good earnings and they moved up a lot, but they didn't get the juice. But Nvidia has a lot more hype, a lot of momentum. You saw what happened with Qualcomm. I think this is going to be an easy continuation. And if you saw today, like we already said, it did what we expected, just a little bit weird. It moved what it was pricing in on the day of earnings, but now if there's some good animal spirits in the market tomorrow, I don't want to expect too much, but I'm really thinking this is going to play out like Lucid. So essentially, I think Nvidia is going to be gapped up tomorrow. The premiums will be high, but they're not going to go up that much. They may even sell off a little bit in the morning, and they'll still be high but down and just be at like a middle point because they already had that premium run up. And then I think once they bottom out, if everything is good, again, if the momentum's there, the market, and we don't get anything negative, that might be the buy the dip opportunity. So this one may be off the morning, it may not, but we're definitely going to watch this, and you're going to want to be there tomorrow for that one. So that is the first play. The second play is going to be Mastercard. So I got this play. I'll show you the one I got, but I really like this one because they got punished in the morning by the Amazon Visa news, and they were down 3%, but if you looked at their chart leading into it, they were already up a lot. And oh, look at that. Roblox got a price target increase, 134. That's beautiful, baby. But if you looked at Mastercard here, you know, they were doing very good since their earnings. So they were one of those that were doing good. Today was just that drama there with Amazon, but then they had the pop, and the fact that they even held up, I like, but they still have some drama, and that's what made the premiums a little difficult. I'm not going to lie to you on this one. The premiums are kind of in the middle. It's like a high risk, high reward play. So I like it, but the risk is definitely going to be there. But the fact that they are the winner of the Amazon Amazon drama now, and that a lot of people have already circulated the news. It was actually one of the most read ones. This was probably one of the biggest pieces of news today. I think it'll have a pretty good continuation tomorrow. So I made this play towards the close, but I grabbed 3 of the January 385 calls for 710. I think they went up a little bit at close, like give or take. I think I was up like 5-10% at one point, but I didn't sell. But I am going to be watching those, and I think those are going to be good. But that is the second play. And then finally, Coinbase, baby. So I still have those December plays, and we need to talk about those because even though the BABA one, I'm glad I stuck to the strategy, and I'm not really disappointed taking the loss on there, but I did have profits at one point on that one, and it was just I didn't take it when it was there, and it faded away. And then same thing with the Coinbase, but this one is holding up a little bit better. The stock is looking good, so I'm liking it, but now I'm thinking it may be a little bit better here for the short term, so I want to see how it's going to play out. I think they're still just looking good here in the market. I'm not really looking to get rid of the December just yet, especially if it goes down. I'll be holding it, but my idea here would be if it goes down on me, I'm going to average down to some of the shorter terms, and I want to see if we get a pop coming into the end of the week, or if there is momentum and I could get a gain on the December contracts, get our nice small gain on there, flip out of the Decembers, and then switch to a cheaper one that's a little closer to the money that could get some of the momentum. So I really like how Coinbase is holding up. If you look at the chart, you'll kind of see what I'm saying, especially if you held this for a while. It's just kind of basing out. I mean, they had the opportunity to really sell off, and they haven't, even just with everything going on with crypto in the market lately, for them to kind of be this stable and the premiums holding. I am really, really liking it. So watch out for them. But those are the main plays. As far as everything else, we still made a couple plays today. I got a nice flip on GM. They were outpacing. Tesla was still doing good. A lot of talk about Rivian and what was going on with them. And then the president was going to be there today, or he had a speech set up for there, but saw it in the morning. Within 8 minutes, they were looking cheap. I grabbed 10 of the January 70 calls for $1.68. They went up to 197. I think they're even up. I could have made like $700-800, but we walked away with 290 on the play, so not too bad. Made a quick flip there. Made sure we took the profits. Then I made the Nvidia. Then we chickened out and got after it. Then just opened up the Mastercards, closed the BABA, and that was pretty much it for today. But like I said, we stuck to the strategy. That is the key. But any of the plays, even so far, or at least this one, we had an opportunity to take it, so we didn't, but that's kind of just giving me a reminder. Everything else, those Baidus, they didn't do good. Thankfully, we trimmed, but those dropped another 40%, or they're down 40% total. We still got the Mercs, the Apples, and the Amazon. Those are still down a decent amount, but I like the timing and where we're at. I think they'll recover with volatility. And then like the open box space, I think all 3 of these are clapped. I may close out of the open or back to get the $100, but I think I'm going to give it at least a week or 2 and we'll see what happens. But pretty much I don't think I could even lose more than there. So factor that into play. But there's some plays that I still kind of like the Affirm and then the Coinbase, like we're saying. I still think that one's in there, and then riding out everything else. So those were the plays for today. I think we're going to have a lot of action with continuations tomorrow. And then speaking of which, watch TSM. That's going to be a chip maker. I like how they've been moving, and I want to see it could be a sympathy to Nvidia tomorrow, depending on what happens. Watch Uber. They've been all over the place. Again, we made that flip, and all of these moves, it's just messing with the contract premium. So if it does pick a range, this might be a good play, especially if there is a catalyst. So watch them. Keep watching the GM. Again, it kept going up even here after hours, so I think they'll be good. But actually, I will be watching Ford a little bit more closely. The premiums on this have not gone up as much. So if you look at the daily, GM is breaking out a little bit different than Ford, but Ford did have the earlier breakout. So it is pretty hard to say which came first, but watch out for both of them tomorrow. Then JD, one of those China names, again, BABA will be key, but also watch out for them. Then FedEx, they dropped today, and a lot of people were talking about transports. I think this will be key to watch. If they start to sell off tomorrow, or if the market's good and they sell off, that one could even be a warning sign, but watch how those start to move. Then Mastercard and BABA, like we said. Then Cisco, I think this one could be a good earnings play as well tomorrow too. I mean, this is a pretty big move, so watch out for them. Nvidia, they're still holding up, so they're only up 1%, and this is where I'm saying tomorrow's just going to be all about the premium, so get ready for that one. That one should be good. Then SCV, Sonos Group, this was an IPO. Someone was spamming it. I feel bad. I clapped them a little bit, but this thing ended up running up. I guess it was an IPO, but I love you. He was trying to tell us. I wrote it off, but watch out for them. Then VSCO had earnings, and then NEE, they were running here, just energy in general. I even watch XLE too. Energy is still just going to be a broader, bigger focus. And then finally, TLT and the dollar. TLT was wild today, but you did get that bond auction today, and it did not surprise. So the fact that you got a surpriser around here, but not here. It shows that there is still a lot of agreement and demand at this range. So it looks like we may not freak out here. Remember, as long as we stay within the range, that's the key. So we may chill out a little bit. I think earnings or other things could freak us out, or essentially the dollar, aka I don't think the bond market will make the stocks react too much now. If dollar keeps going up, that would be bad. But in general, the bonds aren't really going to come into play until we hit the lower end of that range or it breaks out, because again, the bonds have just already been here. That's why the market's able to go somewhere it hasn't been, because the bond market has already seen this before. And that's why too, whatever happens with the Fed or anything like that, that will be the key. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember conformity kills success, baby. But the goal loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.